Joining me today is writing duo Olivia Wiley and E.S. Argentum, known as the author O.E. Tearmann, with the relaunch of the book The Hands Were Given through Amphibian Press. Thank you both so much for joining us today. Now, why has this been relaunched?
The short answer is we got picked up by a publisher. The series initially was self-published in 2018, and we were lucky enough to be picked up by Amphibian Press and are seizing the opportunity to redo everything and make it even better for an audience.
Of course, some people may have read some of the other books of the Aces High Jokers Wild series, but for people unaware, what's all involved in this series?
Book one starts in 2155. In this time period, the American government gridlocked into failure, and 7 corporations rose to control the country. The day you're born, your parents sign a corporate contract to sign you up for work for life for whichever corporation paid for your being born. But there are people fighting to bring representative democracy back. And our series revolves around the wild cards, one unit in the force fighting to bring democracy back to America.
With so much support from fans for previous work, do you both expect to get that same reaction for the relaunches of the series?
I think the big thing is we're hoping to reach more people.
Yeah.
Because self-publishing really limits the scope of who you can reach and how. And being with a press now gives us so many more opportunities to reach people who might need this book. I say need this book in this series because, as Liv said earlier, we deal with a lot of equity, diversity, mental health issues. And one of the things that's kind of underlying the series, besides it just being a fun dystopian story, is creating community and found family and learning to support each other and remembering that there is hope and bringing that into a new world. And so I feel like that's a message that a lot of people can use right now. And having the opportunity to potentially reach more of those people who can find that hope through our work is just so humbling right now.
Yeah, same here. Giving people the resolve to get through hard times, because our series is essentially saying, all right, I see your broken world and I raise you the resolve and the scrappiness to keep fighting to make it better. And that's really our focus. And we hope to pass that on to readers, as well as getting them connected if they need resources, with a lot of resources that you might not find if you just type "help me" into Google.
Now, would both of you be able to tell us some history about how you both decided to come together under the O.E. Tearmann pen name?
We actually met through an Irish language club about a decade ago now that Olivia had organized. And around 2016, we were both going through some really difficult personal times, in addition to watching our country crumble before our eyes. And so we kind of looked at each other and said, okay, what can we do? And I've always been a writer. I've been writing since I was 12. And pulling Olivia into this world and saying, hey, I have this idea for this society. Do you want to help me build it and help me create and find something not as bleak that we can do with it? And it started off just kind of us playing in this world, writing back and forth. And then Olivia looked at me eventually and said, we need to put this in the world because it can help people. And basically twisted my arm until I said, yeah, okay, let's publish it.
We wrote the 8 books in one long, several years worth of creative dashing. And yeah, at the end of that, I started saying, this is really good. We could get this to people, especially since our circles of friends had started getting very down as 2016 rolled on, as it got darker. And a lot of our friends are people of color and LGBT folks. And so everyone was just feeling really depressed. And we were hearing a lot of, we're just screwed. And so essentially this series is our answer. This series is saying, okay, Fine, let's pause it, we're screwed. And then let's write our way out of it. Let's take the darkest version of America we can imagine and write our way into the light again to prove that it can be done, even if we go down to the darkest place. So yeah, it helped us both get through a lot of mental health challenges to write together.
And I think it's amazing to hear that even through rough times, you both were able to come together and be able to create this great series for readers to enjoy. Is there anything else you'd like to add about the relaunch?
It's a found family of freaks and geeks and geniuses. They pull pranks on each other. They're goofing around most of the time. There's a reason they're called the wild cards. There's a lot of who put shaving cream in my shoe? So you're not gonna get a lecture when you read these books. You're gonna get a found family who are fighting for something good and taking care of each other, and also giving each other crap sometimes, just like a good family does. And you're gonna laugh. Sometimes you might cry, but you're gonna get a laugh out of this.
For people interested, where can they access the relaunch of the book?
It's currently available pretty much anywhere books are sold. We've got hard copies, ebooks, and an audiobook. Our website is oetearmann.com, Tearmann. And we're also on Twitter and Facebook, and we have a newsletter where you can get previews of things and sign up for new releases and all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, and if you sign up for the newsletter, we send out free short stories on there as well.
Perfect. Well, once again, thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, it was lovely.